Finally, after all the build-up, let's draw the path on the map form. We've had quite a bit of code, and it brought us to the point where the navigation UI should function as expected. This is implemented in the enter navigation mode method, which I mentioned before. As you might recall, it's invoked when clicking an entry in the search results. This method is invoked from a callback on navigation. We have the coordinates of the path to display on the map as the arguments to the method. As you may recall, these coordinates are returned by the directions method. The first thing we do is remove the existing search UI from the form and animate it out. Due to the way events are chained, this method can be invoked more than once in some unique cases. This works around that behavior. We convert the path to an array and add it to the map. This uses native path plotting for these coordinates. I could have used a painter or something similar and might still use it later on. I move the camera to show the entire path within the form. I create the two tags and add them to the UI. Notice that the from tag has a right alignment. Also notice I used the trimmed string method to limit the string length. I'll cover that method soon. The back behavior is just a button styled to look like a command. It invokes the exit navigation mode method, which we will get to shortly. This is the UI to approve the taxi we are ordering. I used a white container with the form UI ID on the south portion of the form as a layer. Before I continue, I also used the trimmed string method in the code before to trim the tag components. There isn't much to say about this method. We rely on the fact that addresses usually have a comma after them. If the string is missing that or is too long, we have special cases for those. This guarantees a string of decent length for the tag elements. The one last missing piece of the code is the exit navigation mode call, which just removes all the elements and sets the invisible pieces back to visible. It's pretty trivial. We also have a few UI IDs of note mentioned in the code. The first is ride title, which is the title area for the ride UI. It's pretty much a label, so it has black over transparent colors. But it's centered. It has the same padding as a label, 0 margin, and same font. Margin separator is a separator that has margins on the side, which we use in the ride dialog. Other separators in the app reach the edge of their parent container. It has a couple of pixels of padding in the bottom to leave room for the separator. It has the margin to keep it away from the edges of the parent container. And it features a standard underline border. The black button is just a standard white over black button with center text alignment, as is common with buttons. It's got some padding, but not too much so it won't look huge. It's got some margin so it won't literally touch the things next to it, and to compensate over smaller padding. It uses a subtle round rect effect that is just barely noticeable at 0.2 millimeters. And it's got a slightly larger regular font instead of the typical smaller light font. Once all of this is done, we can just see navigation work and appear on the map as expected.